Welcome back to Israel's Movie Reviews, and thank you for rocking with me. Today we're going to be talking about the third installment in the Fast and the Furious franchise, and we're going to be talking about the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. Now, this movie is honestly one of my favorites, but it is a departure from the first two. Now, this movie doesn't have anybody from the first two movies. This movie was very different in terms of everything. I remember when I first saw this in the on the trailers on the TV. I remember when I was young. This movie is back in from 2006, so I was about 19 already, and I already knew my vision or my version of movies. And I was like, wait, this says Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, okay. I found it intriguing. I was like, this movie, especially from the trailer, I don't see anybody that I saw before. All I saw was, Lucas Black, and I saw Bow Wow and Natalie Kelly. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try anyways. I was just a little disappointed that obviously I didn't see Vin Diesel in the trailers. I didn't see Paul Walker coming back. I was like, dang, I didn't see no Tyrese, no Luda. I didn't see no Eva Mendes. I was like, what the fuck did they do? But overall, I remember going to the theater to see this actually a few times. It was that good of a movie. This movie, for some reason, gets bashed a lot, and I don't see why. You know what I mean? Yeah, they introduced a whole new concept, a whole new vehicle, different cars for the most part, but we do get essential characters that will later on play huge roles in the franchise. So this movie was basically an adrenaline rush. Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift was a solid entry to this adventurous action flick franchise that we call Fast and the Furious. You know, the Fast and the Furious, in my opinion, Tokyo Drift is one of the best sequels that we have. It's bashed and hated within the series, but I'm one of the few, I'm one of the constants that enjoys this film, and I can see it over and over and over again. You know, I don't think this movie's bad at all. I think it's better in terms of aesthetically. I think it's better than Furious 7. I think it's better than 4, and we'll get to those eventually in separate videos. But I actually almost loved this movie. I think it's just one of those movies that leaves you in awe because of not only the story, which was well done. I think the story was very unique, especially when we get into it. And it could have been worse than what it ended up, A lot of franchises have that 1 or 2 or 3 bump in the roads. This Fast and the Furious franchise doesn't have a lot of those bump in the roads. And a lot of people thought that it was going to start with this one, and honestly it didn't. This is a fun movie to watch. It accomplishes what it set out to do, and that's to provide the most realistic yet gravity-defying racing sequences backed with the eye-catching background of the electrifying neon Tokyo. It's like going to Times Square times 100. Plot-wise, it suffers maybe a bit, but overall, I liked where it went. The acting isn't top-notch here, but otherwise, you get a lot of loud music, which is, gets incorporated into the story. You got a lot of import cars. You see the cityscape of Tokyo, which I love. There's a lot of Japanese pop culture, more than what you think. Make up for the flaws of the film, that you'll watch it again and again and again. Just a little plot summary of the introduction to Lucas Black, who plays a convicted street racer named Sean Boswell. Tries to start a new life on the other side of the world. His obsession with racing, sets him on a collision course with the Japanese underground. And to survive, he will have to master drifting. And that's what they do in Japan. They just don't race, but they drift the actual car. And it's a new style of racing where tricked out cars slide through hairpin turns, defying gravity, like I mentioned before, and death for the ultimate road rush. And this movie, man, just thinking about it, there's a couple of scenes in this that it leaves you speechless. This movie's more the high octane installment of the hit movie franchise Built for Speed. There are mind blowing stunts. There's a lot of heart pounding racing sequences that will have you crazy, more than ever in any other sequel. The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift will put you in the driver's seat, literally. Strap yourself in for that blistering supercharged ride. The CGI was not necessarily good in this, but, with certain actors like Natalie Kelly and Lucas Black, they definitely make it realistic for the most part. Especially there's a scene in the movie where they slide down with the car during a car chase, and they even overcross this crowd of people without even hitting one. And you can see the camera and the way it's made with the CGI was the only problem, but I still enjoyed that scene. It's just me nitpicking. And this is a very, very simple film, not a big confusing plot. And again, this film is a Fast and the Furious film, so you know what you're gonna get. Very simplistic things, and it's not complicated. This is one of those movies that they get it right consistently throughout the film, and we get introduced to Han in this one, who's a phenomenal character. He has so many layers to him, where it's like, wow, I didn't think that he would be, a mainstay because of the way this movie ends, without being, without spoiling. But, the introduction to him, and his real name in real life is Son Kang. And, this was his first introduction. And his character Han, who actually, later, cameos in 4, he's in 5, 6, as a main, person in the cast. And, man, he's just awesome. The way he drives, the way he has this cool demeanor, the way he can't stop eating chips, because obviously he's a smoker. And, Jesus, just, he was excellent in this film. The racing in this movie, I think they did a better job than part 1 and 2 combined, because I didn't notice too much CGI in this film. It's just Japan, wherever they filmed this, is very bright. So it might look like CGI, but no, this is, a lot of neon lights, a lot of things going at you. And I think that, within wide shots, within close shots, within different angles, I think they made the movie very practical when it comes to the stunts. And I loved that, we don't want CGI all the time. We want practical stunts. And they definitely show you. Justin Lin, who directed this film, awesome. I love him as a director, and I loved him doing this movie. He was amazing. Brian Tyler, who scored the film, amazing. Lucas Black, who's the lead of this film, didn't do that bad, man. Sonny Chiba is also in the film, who's an actor that I always admired. He's a legend out there in Japan. And what's really cool about this film overall is they keep it young. Bow Wow, they throw him in there. He's not that bad, but he can be a little annoying. And, they give it a nice kind of epic feel. And I think the franchise needed some modernizing to do. And they needed some kind of re-editing to do before continuing, before bringing back Paul Walker and bringing back Vin Diesel. And just talking about Vin Diesel, in the end of this film, I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it for you. So if you don't want to be spoiled, leave this review and come back at a later time. But Vin Diesel did return with his character Dominic Toretto in the end of this film. Basically made a cameo scene in the end of the movie, which I thought was pretty cool. Bow Wow, like I said before, I didn't mind him in this movie. Natalie Kelly, she was gorgeous. She was extremely hot. and I really thought she was much better in this film than Eva Mendes was in the prior film. And this movie had me excited because it gave me the imagination of what was possible to come, and then what eventually did come, we're still being delighted. Even though every film they take it to top notch, and it gets more ridiculous as each film passes. But I think this was the film that kind of catapulted the Fast and the Furious franchise to keep pushing forward, because it could have easily died in this film. So, overall, to me, Tokyo Drift, got a solid 8. This was a very, very good film around my time back in 2006. Does lack the great characters like in the first few films, even the cast. But they did bring us, Lucas Black, who we see in the future. And they did bring us Han and awesome car scenes and that pounding score from Brian Tyler. And I enjoyed this movie to the fullest. I think it's a solid action movie. And I think this film is a step above Too Fast and Furious in many ways, in my opinion. Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift, I think was 2006 maybe top 5 movie. Director Justin Lin kicked it out the ballpark. Neil H. Moritz, I think, produced his ass off. And we got to give credit to Chris Morgan, who wrote the story. And, it takes place between the events of 6 and 7 films. And the 7 films. So, this movie, the way they squeezed it in, was very unique. And the film stars, you already know. So, some of the good ones. And overall, I give this movie 8 out of 10, easily. And if you want to go check this out, I recommend it highly. It's one of those movies that are going to leave you excited to get in your own car and race. But that's the review. If you like this review, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and look forward to seeing you in the future. Peace.